In the sacred pages of Scripture, some names blaze like fire: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Their stories are recited from pulpits, studied in seminaries, etched into stained glass. But in the shadow of these giants walks a boy whose cry was heard by God, a child of longing, born not from a divine command, but a desperate compromise. He was cast out, forgotten by men, but never by heaven. This is his story. The story of Ishmael, the firstborn of Abraham, a son shaped by sorrow, guided by providence, and destined for greatness. Welcome to Ishmael, the forgotten son of Abraham. The journey of Ishmael begins long before he ever drew breath. It begins with a promise and a pause. God had told Abraham, "Look toward heaven and count the stars. So shall your offspring be." But the years passed, and Sarah's womb remained silent. Hope faded with each rising sun. Sarah, once full of laughter and strength, grew restless with age and shame. In that culture, childlessness was a scar, a mark of failure, and time was running out. One evening, Sarah approached Abraham not with joy, but with resolve. "Take my maidservant Hagar. Perhaps I will obtain children by her." A decision made in desperation would change the course of generations. Hagar, an Egyptian servant, likely given as a gift during Abraham's time in Egypt, had no voice in the matter. She belonged to Sarah, and now her body would bear the burden of Sarah's faithlessness and Abraham's obedience. When Hagar conceived, everything changed. She had what Sarah could not, and that shifted the balance. Tension flared. Sarah, though the mistress, felt despised. Hagar, though a servant, walked with quiet pride. It was more than jealousy. It was identity unraveling. And so, Hagar fled into the wilderness. Alone, pregnant, abandoned. But then, something divine happened. An angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water. "Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" She answered honestly. And the angel spoke a prophecy that would echo through the ages. "Behold, you are pregnant and shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your affliction." Ishmael, God hears. Ishmael was born into a complex world. Loved by his father, resented by his mother's mistress. For nearly 13 years, he was Abraham's only son, the firstborn, the heir, the hope. Abraham loved Ishmael deeply. He taught him to tend the flocks, build the tents, respect the God who walked with them. But under every sunrise, Sarah still waited for her own miracle. And then, God moved again. Sarah, now almost 90, gave birth to a son, Isaac. Laughter filled the camp. But it was a laughter that came at a price. Because with Isaac's arrival, Ishmael's place began to vanish. At Isaac's weaning feast, a moment unfolded that would alter Ishmael's life forever. Sarah saw Ishmael mocking, or perhaps just playing. But in her eyes, it was a threat. "Cast out this slave woman with her son," she demanded. "For the son of this slave shall not inherit with my son Isaac." It crushed Abraham. How could he send away his son? But God, mysteriously, told Abraham to listen to Sarah. "Do not be distressed. I will make a nation of the son of the slave woman also, for he is your offspring." And so, with a heavy heart, Abraham rose early in the morning, gave Hagar a skin of water and bread, and sent them into the wilderness. This is one of the most heart-wrenching scenes in all of Scripture. A mother, unable to watch her son die, collapses in grief. But once again, heaven hears. "What troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the boy." A divine intervention. God opened her eyes to a well of water nearby. They drank. They lived. They were not forsaken. Ishmael did not return to Abraham's camp. He settled in the wilderness of Paran, a place of solitude and strength. He became an archer, a survivor, a man born of struggle, shaped by sand and sun. Hagar found him a wife from Egypt. Together, they built a life. Ishmael fathered 12 sons, each a leader of a tribe. His descendants stretched across deserts and generations. A nation born not in comfort, but in wilderness. Years passed. Abraham, the father of both boys, died. And in a surprising, tender moment, we see Ishmael return. The scriptures say, his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him together, brothers, united, if only briefly, in grief. It's a small verse, easy to miss, but in it, we glimpse a possibility that despite all the division, there was still dignity, still recognition, still brotherhood. Ishmael's name means God hears. And perhaps that's the heart of his story. God hears the voiceless. He sees the outcast. He remembers the forgotten. Ishmael was not an accident. He was not a mistake. He was a man chosen for a different promise. A father of nations. A survivor of wilderness. A son who walked in the shadows, but never outside of God's sight.